welcome back to the channel and thank you for tuning in. Today we're working back on the 74 Nova, and in the last update video we got the quarter panel installed, and we're really just waiting to kind of brainstorm ideas to install the floor pan or the trunk pan fully, excuse me. And if you guys remember, we had that gap that I wasn't quite sure how we were gonna address it, and thanks to some help with you guys as well as some brainstorming, I was able to find a solution to the problem, and it's right here in this bag and with these brackets. So if you guys saw the last video, we had this spacing here where on the previous floor pan these would actually weld onto this section of the floor pan. And so my concern was with this gap because we have OEM fuel or frame rails off of a donor car with new floor pan and trunk pan, and so I didn't know if that difference was from the new sheet metal versus old sheet metal and vice versa and stuff. So what somebody had suggested to me was drill out a hole in both the floor pan and the frame rail and kind of use a bolt and nut to tie the two together. But at the end of the day, I didn't know if that would be the best decision because I would then have to fill that hole if it didn't work out. And I was just kind of thinking of different options of what I could do, and the main concern was with the leaf springs because I didn't want to put new leaf springs on here and have things not be aligned properly and stuff like that. So what I was thinking then was getting the leaf spring brackets, because the way that this bolts onto the car is it attaches to not only the frame but the floor pan as well. And so I ordered these and then found that I needed the bolts for these. These are like J-channel bolts or washers or something, and they go in these little openings, and they come with the hardware to mount those brackets. So that's where we're going to be starting today, is getting all these installed on the frame rails and the floor pan, and then bolting these brackets up so that way we can get these frame rails welded into the place where they need to go. Now if you're looking for the same parts to do this for yours, I got everything off of speedwaymotors.com. The mounting brackets were about $80 and the hardware kit was about $25. I'll put a link for both in the description down below, that way it's easy for you to find them as well. But with that being said, let's get these bolted up and get to welding. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why it pays to step away and just clear your mind and come back with a fresh set of eyes and thoughts, because last night I was able to get the passenger side on by taking all the clamps off and allowing it to have some more play, but the driver's side I just couldn't get it to go the extra little bit. And so I was thinking about it as I was driving home today, and I was like, dude, rather than use a nut and bolt to try and bolt it together and pull it in closer, why don't I just use a ratchet strap? And I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner, but it worked out flawlessly, guys. So what I did, it's a little dark under here, so hang on one second. Let me get this light going here. I utilized the hole here on the floor pan where one of the drains go, and then the little notch here on the frame rail itself. I was able to ratchet strap it down and get it to close that distance, and I was able to get everything bolted up, and the little it's like a little marker that goes in like a little slot to make sure everything lines up, dropped right into place. Now we have both frame rails bolted to the car, and we are ready to weld everything back into place, which was really the major thing setting us back from getting this thing back to a solid shell, because I had no idea what I was going to do to close that gap. And now that that gap is closed, we can move forward with welding the frame rails to the floor pan, fully welding in the trunk pan. We'll wrap up the other side quarter pan and wheel well, and literally everything major on this car will be 100% again. So after that, it'll just be patching the little bits of sections on the rockers, which we may even get to in this video. But as of right now, guys, I am super happy that I was able to get that gap closed and those brackets bolted on. That way we can continue with the welding. Alright guys, it is a few days later, and I got everything taken apart on the old axle and leaf springs. We ended up throwing out the old leaf springs because I cut them, but I was able to find a good deal on Facebook Marketplace where I was able to get some new leaf springs as well as some new shocks as well, so shout out to him. But I took off the brackets that the leaf springs kind of bolt down to, as well as what the shocks bolt to, and just cleaned them up and repaint them. I didn't really feel like spending the money to get new ones just because these really were just surface rust on there. So I cleaned them up, got them all repainted, and then I ordered new bushings as well as new hardware just because the hardware was rusted as well. So now we got everything mocked up and ready to go back in the car. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing. That way we can get this thing rolling. So hopefully by the end of the video, well, it is going to happen in this video for you guys because I've been kind of slacking on my Nova content. I know a lot of you guys want to see this thing come back to life, as do I. So in this video, this car will be getting rolled out of the garage as a full kind of final send-off for the finishing of the bodywork. But now let's get this thing flipped back over and bolted in the car. Like that, guys, the axle is back inside the car. Not fully because I have to run to the hardware store and get some bolts. I was gonna order these on eBay, but like it was 11 bucks just for the bolt and then another 10 bucks for shipping, and I just didn't think a bolt and nut was worth 25 bucks a piece because I needed one for each side, and I know for a fact that I can get that cheaper at the hardware store. So I'm just gonna make a quick trip to Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere and see if I can pick up some of those. But she's halfway there, and I'm really happy to see this thing coming back to life, guys. I know I've been slacking on the uploads, but I have been making slow progress behind the scenes. Swenson's been a little busy doing other things and stuff like that. He went on a cruise with his girlfriend, so I haven't had him to kind of help me weld. And I was having a hard time welding upwards. A lot of my welds just wanted to drop down, so I really was waiting for him to help me with that. And as you guys saw, he was able to finally come and help me crank that out. So that allows me to really get this stuff put back together so we can get it back to a roller, which was my goal for this video because it had been so long since you guys had seen this car, and I wanted to have it be like a major upgrade and progress on this build. And I think pushing it out of the garage as a roller would be that big kind of moment and turning point in this build series, because after all these sheet metal pieces are replaced, there's really not much left for the body. I mean, I need to reskin the driver's side door because it was in an accident at some point, maybe at some point. It's kind of dented in a little bit. And then there's a couple little holes in my rockers. I was going to do like full replacements because I bought them. But when I mocked them up, they're kind of just like sheet metal that somebody bend to make look like rockers, and they're really off. I'll pull them out and show you guys, but they look like they're for like a Chevy Suburban. That's like how off the angles are and everything. So I'm probably just gonna cut pieces off and splice it in just to kind of fill those holes, and that'll be perfectly fine too, because at least then it gets rid of that rust hole, and it's very minimal, so I don't really think a full replacement is needed for those sections. But for now, guys, I'm gonna run to the hardware store, see if I can get those bolts, and also swing through Brandon's and pick up my wheels. That way we can get all of this buttoned up, and like I said, push it out of the garage. Guys, we got the car finally sitting back on all fours, and it just looks absolutely amazing to have this thing sitting on the ground. I feel like before it was kind of just monster trucking in here on the jack stands for forever, and seeing it this low, it just looks so much better and gives me that much more excited to get this thing rolling out. I unfortunately don't have my car dollies here, and I haven't been able to make it out to the shop to get them, but I told you guys that we were going to try and push this out, so we're going to give it a shot. We got one tire that won't take any air at all, but the other three filled up and are fine. So let's just see how well this is going to go. Alright, so I know we didn't push it out completely, but we at least got it moved somewhat a little bit. Don't mind my fender, it's not fully bolted on. I just have it mocked up here. But we were able to use the jack stand underneath this one wheel that won't take any air and actually get it pushed back the way I could clean up here and stuff. And I know I promised you guys that I was going to push this outside in the video, but we at least got it moving under its own wheels, which is a huge milestone on its own. That's pretty much going to do it for today's video. In the next one, I will be sure to bring home the car dollies. That way we can get this thing spun around and start working on cleaning up the engine bay. I really want to start getting those wheel wells down and start sanding everything down. That way I can either get them repainted or drop them off at powder coating, as well as start dismantling everything off of the front subframe. That way we can get that cleaned up and ready to go as well. I got some rust encapsulator to go over the subframe, because I don't think I'm gonna powder coat it, but you guys let me know what you think. Should I powder coat the subframe, or should I just use the rust encapsulator and kind of paint it that way? But either way, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys really enjoyed this update on the Nova video, as it's been such a long time since you guys have seen this car, but I'm excited to get back to work on it, and I hope you guys are too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.